Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dragon's Greek Gaming. This is Sins and Consequences, a Blades in the Dark actual play podcast. Tonight, Adam has been predisposed. He's currently fighting hordes of the undead in his basement. That's what he told me, and I choose to believe him. He may be joining us later, or he may succumb to the horde. So we may not see him again.
Or next week, either one.
Yeah, maybe we'll see him next week. He might join us a bit later, but for the time being, we got the rest of our wonderful crew. CJ DeBono. Yeah. How's it going? How's life?
It's going okay.
That's fair.
I got my bathroom all fixed up. There's been issues with it from forever.
Oh my.
Oh yeah, the sink leak. So what finally made me get the bathroom fixed was that the drain on the tub like completely clogged up. I tried Drano, I tried the snakes. It was not getting fixed. I was like, okay, that's a problem. So while we're at it, let's get rid of these other things because the toilet will also run. So like it just wouldn't stop making noise. And then the sink, it always leaks, so I just have to like turn the knobs or whatever to turn off the water so it wouldn't do it. So I was like, I can live with this, it's fine. But now I was like, hey, I'm get plumbers coming, let's just get it all done. Let's get it out of here. So now I have a fully functioning bathroom. Life is good.
That's awesome. Sorry, I gotta ask CJ, do you rent or own?
I own my condo.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I own a house too. It sucks because every time something breaks, you gotta pay for it.
Yeah.
And especially when it's water-based, which makes anything in the bathroom like some of the scariest types of repairs because that's where all the water is, or at least part.
Yeah, I had to replace the toilet, and that was fucking terrifying.
Oh no. Well, so Grace is Ethan's met my wife Grace, and so he can vouch that she's pretty handy, and she only gets more handier by the year as she spends more time as a tradesperson. I'm not a bad plumber. I'm getting really good at it, actually. It's tangentially related to my job, and so I just kind of pick things up here and there, and it's really came in handy since buying a house that's like over 100 years old.
Shit.
Turns out everything needs fixing.
Yeah. So we can kind of tag team a lot of problems together, so that's nice. Sorry, Dio, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, what's the name of that phrase? Someone's boat, where once you replace everything within it.
Ship of Theseus?
Yes. Is it the same thing for your house? It's 100 years old. I'm sure most of the things, except for like maybe the structure, has been changed.
I mean, we still have the original floors.
Oh, that house is old.
No, there's a lot of rentals that have yet to be done. A lot that have been done, but the floors are still original. The walls,
and they show like you can tell that those floors are 100 years old. They're like some spots it's like the wear on them.
yeah
Man, I kind of want to see that like you got a bit of history, but that's sick as fuck, dude.
Oh yeah. So the deed to my house has 3 clauses in it because it used to be a church. And one of them is that I'm not allowed to sell, or I'm specifically not allowed to auction off livestock. It's against the law. I'm also not allowed to charge admission for the purposes of hosting a dance. And what was the third one?
Is it gambling?
No, it's not. You'd think it would be something like that, but it's not. I think it's literally like I have a limit on the amount of horses I can keep on my property. Which like my property's like big, but it's not big enough to have like horses plural. Like I also hate horses.
The fact that your contract predates cars, kind of says something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty sick though, but like,
yeah.
I in the eventuality where we all lose the ability to drive a vehicle, you're gonna be over here with the only one of the few houses in the books that says you can't have that many horses in your fucking space, man.
I think it's like definitely double-digit horses I'm not allowed to have. Like I think I can have like 2 or 3. But
I mean,
yeah. Well, and I mean, if we go all Mad Max anyways, I'm breaking some laws. Like, Like if I have to fight my neighbor for food, I feel like I gotta break the law somewhere.
Like wall in Rome.
Yeah. I mean, he cuts my lawn anyways. Like he cuts a little bit onto my lawn, so whatever he's got coming, he deserves.
What an
it.
asshole.
Sorry, that was a long tangent. Dio, you had a week. Tell us about it.
Man, but my
Actually, Dio, stop. CJ, who are you playing?
I play Myri Skelkoan, the leech. She makes things. She's working on a project now. She's finally settled on something.
Finally. Nice.
Doing a main feature of the class. Wow, who heard of that before?
Wow. There we are. And now, Dio, tell us about your week. Tell us about your character. I'm sorry to interrupt.
If only I could do a rewind noise. That was terrible. Well, regardless, man, it was a bit of a crazy week. So I could get into a bit of like basically had a bad mental health week. Just everything was really hitting the fan. But the funny part of it is that like my therapist and I have been working on something called like a safe space, and I made it into like this. Like kind of like the library that we went into and we killed the vampire. But like the top of it, actually, funny enough, it matches that, except mine was more of a galaxy theme going on. Like before I even knew about this. Now, yeah. Which now it's been invaded by bodies, and to add to that, my safe space has my dog, just kind of roaming around and because I put away bad memories in books. That's the premise of it. And my dog is the librarian. They're the ones that are putting away all the books. And I've been making her like in my head, because it just kind of has its own headcanon. She just chucks them. It's like I think maybe it might be some subconscious shit, but it's funny to me and it helps me feel better. But it always helps me whenever I deal with like panic attacks or anything of that nature. So nice. Yeah, it's been. But it's just been hilarious, just because like my dog's personality is really just showing inside of this safe space, and like it just leads to these moments where my wife and I are just cracking up because we're talking about the stupid shit she's doing in there to put away books. Like imagine like a small little like dachshund climbing up a ladder with a book in their mouth, and they have like a mitten specifically so they don't slobber all over it.
I love it.
But I'm playing. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's awesome for you, dude. That's all. Who are you playing?
I'm playing Albatross, the Hound, and the guy who could still kill somebody even though he fucked up a roll.
The claim to fame.
Hey. I've killed a horse. I've killed a child apparently, and now I've killed the leader of the Path of Echoes.
No, to be fair, he killed himself.
He did that himself.
I mean, I helped.
You encouraged his hand.
Yeah. Ethan wasn't there for that session, but Dio and CJ, that is the second time you've witnessed a member of the Path of Echoes commit suicide in order to attack someone.
Lucky us.
Ethan.
Hello, my name is Ethan. Do you have a
What's
prompt?
up?
Okay.
Do you want me to give you a prompt?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I can drive on this own. Hello, my name is Ethan. I'm gonna be running Vehelker. He is a spider. In the last session, he went to the Church of Ecstasy and really unwound by winding back a whip and whipping a bunch of people, which was great. I'm really happy that happened. As weird of a scenario as that was, it was quite entertaining. And then he also went, and I believe it was last session, he got new followers to, was that?
Yep.
Oh, that was
last session.
All right, cool. Yeah, so we helped grow the cult, which was pretty nice. And yeah, I'm curious. I want to see what type of heights we get on this session. So I'll kind of give a quick thing. What a funny thing. So this week, I guess like earlier today was funny. I was walking down the road with my partner, and she saw this car coming up, and she's like, "Oh, like, is that one of those Google cars with the cameras?" And I looked at it, and I was like, "Is that what you think it is?" And it was it was a car with like a Domino's pizza like top thing on top of it, and it was just one of those funny moments where like, you know, my wife got really excited. She's like, "Oh, like we're gonna take the picture," and it's like, nope, it's Domino's.
Should have at least asked him for pizza.
Yeah.
You're not gonna put me on Google Earth. I would like a pepperoni pizza.
Something for smiling, you know. We deserve it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean that's an exciting week. You already introduced your character. Did you talk about Vay?
I did.
Nice. I'm sorry, guys. I'm real tired today.
Maybe you need more RC cola.
Maybe I do need more RC cola. I have still not been able to find a source, and I've been fiending hard. Yeah. My name's Aaron, also known as Poltergeist, and as my wife pointed out earlier today, I am in fact a MILF. I'm a man that she would like to frolic with. But no,
Definitely used to that term.
I was gonna say the word fancy.
I mean, I like to fancy. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. No, for the last week and a half, for some reason, my wife has been calling me a MILF, and I kind of like it. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, the technical term would be DILF.
Well, the thing is, I'm not a dad. Like, I don't have any children. I've yet to sire a single person into this world. You know,
okay.
I'm a dad in spirit. I got a lot of dad energy, but
bring a lot of dad energy to the conversation to get into.
All the excess dad energy in the world is just siphoned off through you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, for all those deadbeat dads, I'm just picking up their energy, just throwing it out there. No, I don't know what else did I get up to this week. I worked a bunch. I didn't see any bears this week, but the turkey vultures have been bad. You ever seen a turkey vulture before?
No.
I've seen vultures before.
Yeah, so they're like vultures, but they're also like turkeys. It's kind of wild. But yeah, they're scary looking, and there's like probably like a dozen or so of them that kind of live like just up the road from us now. And yeah, so like I'll be driving and they'll be like going after the roadkill and stuff.
I did see one. It was exactly these. So it was in Florida. We went to a beach and there was a carcass there, and these guys were going to town. There was a bunch of them, and they were huge. I didn't expect to see such.
I think they're great. I love service animals like that kind of just remove waste, you know?
Yeah. That's fair. I did have a prompt for everyone real quick before we start. What animal do you fear the most in the world? Starting with Dio. Spiders. You know what? No need to explain.
They're tangible. They are something that can't show up. I want to explain it because I have a story for it. Every single time I try to open or close the garage, like it's hidden behind a cabinet. So whenever like the spiders are there, like I start freaking out because I'm like, how am I gonna get rid of them? Hell, my sister got so freaked out during the winter times because she made a space to stay in the garage, and she started freaking out because there was spiders everywhere. So it's just like, and I've seen a black widow before, so I have like this tangible, like legit fear of seeing them because I remember that red.
I hear that. CJ, are you afraid of any animals?
Can't think of an animal. If we're going with bugs, then it'd probably be spider too. Like, I don't like going in like unfinished basements because I'm like, so a spider's gonna drop on my head and I'm gonna have a bad time.
Oh my.
Like, I'm okay when they're like, I can see one just fine, and if they're in the tank, then it's like psh, whatever. So like I'm like I can like get up close to a tarantula's cage, but if that tarantula is not in a cage, then I don't want to be near that thing.
See, tarantulas, I don't got a problem with. I do not love like the little itty bitty spiders.
Yeah.
Like we got a lot of orb weavers at the house. We actually cultivate them because they help with the flies.
Mm-hmm.
So we just like keep moving their net, like their webs to like the back room, and then they just eat a ton of flies for us. But yeah, they're disgusting to look at.
Oh my god.
Those look like Japanese spiders. Yeah, those guys are kind of creepy.
But and they get huge. Like they do get pretty big. They're like, you know, like a big around.
Yeah,
When
when,
they're-
they
what-
get real big, it's like, no, there was one on my like porch and it was like hanging out. It was like a chunky guy. I was like, no, no. I like ran out to like the store to buy like spider killer. Just like,
I would love to study one. I love the design of like it's like I just like the legs.
Yeah. No, they're kind of cool. Like we named them like inappropriate like old lady names like Beatrice, Gertrude, Edeltraud.
Bless.
We always have
You
at
know what?
least one.
I'm gonna add one thing though. I don't hate daddy long legs.
That's
Daddy
because
long
they're
legs.
not spiders. They're not spiders.
They're not
Oh, yeah.
spiders.
I think
They're
it's
not, they only have-
6.
They only
Right?
have 6 legs. They're just really tall insects.
with
They're
long
not.
legs.
Yeah,
I'm upset.
daddy long legs are not spiders. They just are spider-like in appearance.
But they eat flies.
Yeah, but so do a lot of bugs.
Okay. True.
Like wasps eat flies, and they're not spiders. Speaking of, Ethan, what are you scared of most in this world that's also an animal?
Wasps is pretty good actually. But I would probably go with I think bears. I think as far as like animals go, like, you know, I haven't had a bad experience with the bear, but I do go camping often enough, and it's like, you know, I've got bear spray, a bear banger, and like, you know, multiple. I've been on some where it's like, and it's like, we got bear spray here, we got bear banger there, and here's the gun, just in case a bear comes in the middle of the night and you have to deal with it, because it can happen, right? And so it's
Oh
like,
yeah.
I haven't had a bad experience, but like, of the animals that I could meet that would make me have a bad experience, a bear is one of them.
And that's fair if you're going in. Like, I'm not gonna disagree. Like, I think bears are adorable, but also I don't want to meet a bear.
Oh, like
That's
if you
true.
go to a dump, they're so great. Like I love dump bears. They're like big, round, like it's like Build-A-Bear, and they just didn't stop filling it, you know?
Man, you should have gone camping with us in Maryland, or with my buddies from Maryland. We went out to West Virginia. We went to West Virginia. Country roads take me. Anyways, we were singing it the whole way through, but like these guys are fucking crazy. They just warned us. They basically said, "Look, if you see a black bear, just do this. They are giant.
Yeah.
They are
Yep.
giant wusses. They will run away from you at like moment's notice." And then one of my other buddies like, "Yeah, but if it's a brown bear, you better fucking run."
Well,
No,
also
you
for
don't
that-
run. No, you don't run.
I know,
I
I
don't
have
think there's a good solution for grizzlies or brown bears, but also for black bears, it's like usually if you make yourself big, you're safe, but not always. Like you can get maps where it's like, oh, and by the way, this is where someone just got killed by a black bear in like, you know, 1926. Like there's
yeah.
just, it happens if you accidentally land between like a cub and a mother, and like, you know, or a bilf, I guess is what you'd call them.
A bear. like the fancy.
Like fancy, yeah.
Listen, we've all been on Grindr. For me, I think I'm afraid of any animal that flies that's larger than a bee and smaller than an owl. It's kind of like depends on the owl, because some owls are tiny and they're terrifying too. But I just have this thing where I used to think I was just afraid of birds, but it turns out it's all like quote unquote medium-sized flying entities.
Is it the flap? You can't handle
It's the flap. You know what? I have this hubris about me that like if I saw a black bear, I could kill it with my bare hands. I believe that in my heart of hearts. I'll never put it to the test, but I believe it. Bobcat, I could throw it in a ravine, you know? Like nothing. Tarantulas are my buddies. I've actually pet like a ton of tarantulas. I'm not afraid of them. I had this lady with dementia who used to babysit me, and we used to like feed raccoons, and they would just come swarming, and I'd pet like 30 raccoons in an evening. Like I just have no fear of most animals, but if they fly, I cannot handle it. Like I'm not. I guess I'm not. I don't want to admit this, but apparently I do, because I'm going to do it anyways, and no one's making me do this. But every time there's a bat in our house, because that happens sometimes. It's usually me who's like huddled up under blankets on the couch waiting for my wife to go and catch it with a net. And yeah, like I just cannot handle it. But I have this hubris that I believe I could defeat any mammal in combat. I try hard enough.
Hopefully you'll never have to test it out.
No, well, maybe. We'll see.
When you said that, you remind me of my like distinct dislike for chimpanzees. And I think I'd like if I'm putting in the fear category, then chimpanzee and gorillas, I'm just like
Oh, absolutely not. In fact, when you start talking about bears, Ethan, my first thought was, I'm like, I would love to hang out with a gorilla, except that like I do not believe that I would survive that.
Yeah, too intimidating.
They seem so cool, you know.
They seem chill, but then like if you just look at them the wrong way, they're gonna like
Not
beat your
chill at
face
all.
in.
Yo, Bobo, that's not a very chill thing to do at all. All right, guys, we are in Duskfall. We are playing Blades in the Dark, which is kind of meta that we went to Duskfall to play the game about being in Duskfall. So last week, we had a bit of downtime. Before you guys had downtime, you had a confrontation with a man that you still have not gotten the name of. He was a member of the Path of Echoes, and he was also one of the people that you met when you met with the Circle of Flames. One of the few that didn't bother to wear a mask. You definitely got he was there specifically to collect Myri, and he seemed to be attempting to recruit her to his cause. When things started to go a little bit haywire, Jacob had some sort of plan, but Albatross intervened with a bullet, and things went crazy, but you managed to keep Myri within the confines of the library. The man has died, and his spirit traveled into the night. And then we proceeded to clear out a bunch of stress. Myri made really good progress on building a ghost railgun. She's almost done the planning phase. Albatross.
I was a real MVP. I was like in all those situations. Like I mean, like you successfully rolled out of like getting out of the thing's grasp, and then you made the railgun. So it's just like, all right. Versus like, what I fucked up the shot. What was it? Terrible with names. What was the other character that Adam plays?
Jacob Bridgewater.
Yeah, like his whole plan went to shit because I took the shot, and then, well.
And to be fair, I just wanted to make sure Adam was cool, but yeah, like Adam's not mad at you. Jacob's mad at Albatross, and there's a very big difference.
No. He apologized as it was going through, because it's like in Albatross's head, he's like, "Who the fuck are you?" But he also apologized to me as he was saying all that stuff. I was like, "Oh, he's saying that in character." I kind of figured, but at the same time, I'm just like,
I'm not gonna lie. I've definitely had games where I played as someone who my character was mad at their character, and also me, Aaron, was mad at like Jeremy.
"Oh,
like, you know, it's like you fucked up, and my character's really mad about it, and I'm gonna say some things that are kind of mean about your character in character." You know, I've had that a couple of times in my life.
Is it like puppet therapy? You know,
it does because you resolve the conflict in character so that real feelings don't get hurt. I think it's healthy. You know, as long as you do it right. But yeah, what else happened after that? I don't recall. You guys had a lot. It was an interesting session, but there was a lot of things that happened, and I don't remember all of it. So I'm gonna check Ethan's notes.
I have a choice.
Oh yes. You actually had a vision. You guys all had a dream. The man sitting under the willow tree, who Ethan put in quote and in brackets that says "our God," which I do not believe I've ever said.
Nope.
You did not say.
I have
spooky dream from man under tree.
I have faith, and I have talked to him multiple times. He is my God. He is Vay's God.
That's fair.
That Vay's interpretation right there and then.
And he said to you all, and you all heard it. Jacob, Ludes, Myri, Vay, and Albatross all saw the man and heard him say The hand, the eye, the heart. I want them, and I will have them. Or something to that effect. And when Albatross woke up, beside him was a jar of this water taken from this spot of power underneath the city that his compatriots had discovered. Who put it there? How did it get there? Albatross doesn't know. But it's
he's
there.
in his. It's in his, like, just to make sure, like, this is like where he's staying, where he's sleeping.
Yes, this is in your home. Because I believe that's where you described you being.
He's gonna stare at it. Like, not just a while, like he's like hours pass. No thoughts in his head, contemplating. What will I lose?
What will you gain?
After some time, he slowly walks up to the bottle and picks it up. He swishes it around in the bottle for a little bit. He looks down with a bit of reserve. But then he uncorks the bottle, starts drinking it down.
You recall Lude's enthusiastically explaining that you have to inhale it, almost drown on it.
He lets it take over.
Okay. As you do, there's a moment where, like, you are legitimately just concerned that you're going to drown, and then there's a moment where it just feels natural almost. And as you cough and you sputter and work this water out of your system, you're not going to take any harm, you're not going to die. But you start to hear in the corners of your brain just the thoughts. Very, very quietly, you can maybe hear Myri and Faye's reaction to the dream that they just had, noting that this is a couple hours later. You can hear the sound, you can hear Lude's, and as Adam described it, Lude's kind of seems to be running a mile a minute and has less control over this ability than the rest of you do. And so you can kind of hear into his thoughts, and he's maybe concerned and then excited, and potentially getting married. You guys can all hear this. I'll do my best Lude's impersonation, and it's like, "No, I don't know if I want to get married." And there's a lot of that.
Mute that guy in the group chat.
Albatross would actually keep his composure even in this mental space and not say a single.
That's fair. But yes, and as I described earlier, that kind of comes through. Like, it's not loud. It's like it's kind of being like through water, and so it's muffled and it's strange and hard to think out individual words. It's just that Ludes is firing off like a mile a minute with his thoughts, and so you pick up more words than you maybe do with the others.
Or that he would even want.
Yeah. And for the sake of your character's sanity, if you stop focusing in on this, it kind of falls into the background and is something you could easily ignore.
Sudden relief overtakes Albatross.
Yeah. Yes.
So, like,
We'll
internal
go-
chats of like, well, like, you know, it's annoying, but it becomes more of a hum. It's so quick, so you can generally ignore it.
A background podcast, you know.
It
I don't
joins
actually know
the
what they're
voice.
saying.
It joins the other voices in his head.
Mm.
And And not the ghost kind.
Myra, you had an interesting day yesterday. You made a lot of progress on this new type of weapon that you intend to bring into the world.
Oh yeah.
Very, very exciting. And you also met a man named Flint,
Yeah.
a kindred spirit. And then you had a weird dream where a man under a willow tree demanded that you give him, or at least keep for him, the hand that's recently come into possession, which Vay still has on his person. You also know that this hand is something that's been requested that you collect on behalf of the Circle of Flames in exchange for quite a large sum of money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to take a moment and check in with our characters. Myri, what do you want to do with this hand? What does Myri think about this hand? Who does it belong to?
Right now, it belongs to us.
Right
Where it goes
answer.
after that. Where it goes after that, that's up for debate.
The answer is to attach a thing pulley system, so every single time that you pull on the trigger, it just opens and closes the hand, and you could use it to extend and grab things from high places.
Ooh, don't do that. Don't. Oh no, put that idea in my head. Like, yeah, let's put it on a stick, and then we can like whap people with it. Yeah.
it's like shut up. A cultist
do
is
that?
being, or like the cultist steps out of line. Crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So
Like,
it belongs.
I don't think about giving it to the Circle of Flame just yet, but because Circle of Flame still chill with, like, they're neutral with us, but this seems like good leverage against
Actually-
the bad guy, Mr. Flint, that guy, because he's also in Path of Echoes, but he's also in Circle of Flame.
Yes, he is. He came to your lair and he did say something along the lines of, I've come to represent my other duties as the Path of Echoes.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I will say you actually are allies with the Circle of Flame.
Oh, okay.
So they are willing to extend favors towards you because they believe that you're going to give them these things.
Did we get the vault?
We actually haven't discussed what we're doing for upgrades yet. That's coming up.
Okay, I'll be quiet.
No, you don't have to be quiet, but I just we
No,
can
I
definitely
get
have
it.
a discussion.
I'll stop talking. It's cool.
Well, actually, I need you to start talking because now I'm checking in with Vay. They also had an interesting day. I mean, yeah, you beat the shit out of a bunch of churchgoers for fun. You
They had it
psychopath.
coming. They had number
They
2s
had
on
it
their
coming.
card.
Yeah. You, unlike Myri, saw what happens when somebody interacts with this artifact. So you kind of know firsthand what it could do.
Yeah. But and a lot of the time, especially like the past 2 days, Vay's been holding on to this hand, and it's been, close to him and then far, but there's this like, protecting it and wanting it to be safe, but also not wanting it too close to the body. And so I think as far as like sleep is going and other types of things, I'm not really of the clearest sight in mind at the moment, so dealing with a lot of stress trying to deal with that, and would really appreciate some kind of safe place that we could stow certain loot like this.
Fair enough.
So
I'm going to ask you to do something for me, Ethan.
yeah.
I want you to make a resistance roll.
Oh,
Using
All right.
resolve,
no, that's fair.
or I can offer you a consequence if you don't want to do that.
We're gonna take the resistance roll. Vay's
Okay.
got a lot of resolve, and also
Okay.
if it doesn't work out, that's fine.
Let me describe why you're making this resistance roll while you do it. So you said you've been holding it close to you, and while you definitely notice that like Lude's obviously had a very strong reaction, you're furtive enough and you're attentive enough that you also notice that Albatross even seemed to be like almost aware of it even before you know like brought it to his attention, as if it's like calling out to them. And spending more time with it, it starts to kind of affect you too. There's a part of it where like it's like Pandora's box. You know you shouldn't open it, and you don't.
Getting
And
that
you suffer
6.
yeah, you got that 6. So you, for 0 stress, you do it fairly easily.
Golf
But
clap.
there's a part of you that is like, I want to open this box.
Yeah, no, it's like I don't know if it's like that easy thing. It's like, you know, it's like having a pack of donuts on like the kitchen counter, right? You know, it's just like it's like it's constantly on the mind, and you're like, should I? And you're like, no, I'm gonna leave that, and it's there, and I guess they won today's battle.
Yes, you did, without taking any stress, and that's the most important thing.
Or becoming grotesque like Ludes.
But yeah, something to keep in mind. And so yes, as Ethan mentioned, and as Bay is maybe thinking about getting, we are at a point where we just upgraded your crew. You guys hit enough crew XP that you guys could take either 2 upgrades or either 2 upgrades, or you guys could look at getting another special ability. I personally would say that perhaps upgrades is what you're looking for.
Are you gonna recommend the vault for maybe the 3rd time to us?
I'm gonna say this.
I'm
It's not-
for the vault.
You're gonna run out of space to hold coins soon.
We got so much money, guys. We're fucking rich.
Yeah.
we have run out of space. Yeah.
But also, let's see, where's crew upgrades? There they are. Where's cultist? So, ordained, every character would get an additional trauma that they could take, and oh, okay, no, never mind. That's not worth it. Ritual Sanctum in Lair, if you want your cohorts and stuff to start performing rituals.
Upgrades again.
Under Compendium, there's crew upgrades.
Compendium. That's where I was supposed to.
And then there's a bunch that don't have any like letters beside them. Those are the ones that like anyone can get. And like that's like things like Hidden Lair, which might not make sense. But you can also upgrade the quality of your gear, tools, weapons. You could secure your lair. You could add a vault. You guys already have increased training for Resolve. But you could also increase training for personal experience, insight, or prowess. Could upgrade your cohorts or add an additional group of cohorts. You could have a bunch of screaming goats.
That one's so good. I think so. I'm going to throw my 2 votes in there, and then I'll pass it over to Dio or CJ, whoever wants to pick it up. I think that we should do the vault, and I think we should throw space on for a cohort. And so whether or not, wait, are we full on the space we have for cohorts right now, or?
No. So the thing with cohorts is they cost 2 crew upgrades. Yeah. And so like if you look at the actual like sheet in the book, and I'll post that to chat here. I'm just gonna look it up. You can see the actual pips better as opposed to on Foundry here. Come on. Okay, actually I got it here. And it's a PDF, so I'm just gonna look at it. So crew upgrades specific to cultists is cult rigging, which gives you 2 free load of documents or implements. Which Adam made the joke that was like the severed demon's hand. Ritual Sanctum and Lair, Elite Adepts, or Elite Thugs is actually only one crew upgrade. So you could upgrade your current cohorts to be either Elite Adepts, like so
We
they're
can-
really good.
Like the weeping women could be weepier.
Yeah. Or Elite
Magic
Thugs, and you
tears.
just start handing them all hatchets and seeing what they do.
Now they're
Um,
violent weeping women. Yeah, there's the upgrade.
Another one to keep in mind is it takes 4 crew upgrades to achieve mastery, which allows you to put 4 pips into any skill.
Oh, that one's 4.
Yeah.
That's fair.
If you want a new cohort, it's 2 upgrade. If you want to add a type to an existing cohort, it's 2, unless you want to add Elite Thugs or Elite Adepts.
Okay.
Um,
And I guess we also don't have to spend both points for this, right? We could go, we know we want the vault, and then, like, hold on if we wanted.
Yes. And so the way the vault works, the first time you check it off, it takes you from 4 coin able to store in your lair to 8. And also makes it so that it's secure. It's like in a locked box of some kind, as opposed to just in the lair. And then the second one gives you access to store 16 coin. You guys already have quarters and a workshop. Also, other upgrades you could do is you could upgrade the quality of your items. So you could upgrade your tools, your supplies, your weapons, your implements, your gear, or your documents. And that would mean that everything kind of punches up 1 tier higher than your current tier.
And we're tier what right now?
You're tier 1, or rather you were before you went to war, which is the next thing we got to talk about.
Oh, they're gonna lower our tier. That's fair.
It's temporary. You just
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
not. Yeah. But yeah, if you guys don't have anything in mind, we can hold off on these and we can spring them out when you need to use them. But I'll also give the opportunity to just select them now.
My vote, if we were gonna do these, yeah, I'm all for the vault. Otherwise, either quality or quality one of the items, or the defense one for the lair,
Secure.
layer.
secure
Yeah.
lair. So that's what. But if we want to save it up, I'm also fine with that too.
Feel like a 2-ply sheet for the window.
Well, your lair has locks, alarms, and traps to thwart intruders. Maybe you guys just set up like a fucking trap at the sheet.
You have to pick it up. You have to move the sheet at a certain angle.
Or a paint bucket comes flying down and hits you onto a bunch of, Hot Wheels.
I was just thinking that there was like a shotgun trap, but just come back and some guy's dead. It's like, oh,
Hey guys, it works.
I could just imagine like a situation where it's like you're finishing setting it up. It's like, look, guys, here it is. I set up the security turret, so whenever somebody walks in and they open the door, someone's like, yeah, that happens.
yeah. So is everyone in agreement on the vault? Because I can just drag that onto your sheet now, and it should automatically add space.
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
All right.
Mechanically, I am able to store the hand there, right?
Yes. If you want to put the hand in the vault, just check off one of the coin slots for that, and we'll just keep that in mind.
Okay.
I think that's a fair compromise.
Should we have an accounting book specifically for the items?
Daddy, keep a ledger of our vault.
Who is going to be the accountant?
Daddy. Daniel.
There. Daniel Deraviso.
Yes.
Deravizio. Yeah, and then for your second crew upgrade, someone mentioned securing the lair. That's not a bad idea by any means. You can increase the quality of your stuff. I'm always a fan of screaming goats. I would like my opportunity to express my awesome goat impersonation.
Listen, I like goats too.
Or a boathouse, if you guys want a boathouse.
You guys want a boat? I was looking, I was like, guys, we could have a boat.
You want a boat? Might make sense, right?
That is true. We do go on the water to go to the place. So a boat would make more sense than the goats.
Oh. As like a way to connect up our church to where we pray. That's fair. Or our layer from the church.
Yeah, it's getting hard to steal gondolas every time you want to go to church. Oh.
We could
All
call
right.
the hosier so we could say it's taking us to church.
Take me to church.
All right. Otherwise, if you guys don't have anything in mind, if you guys don't make a decision, then we can move on and we'll just know we have an extra crew point, which I will put in notes, by the way, on the crew sheet. 1 unspent crew upgrade.
It's like, if you're not all excited enough about it, we're just gonna mark it down. We're gonna move on.
That is correct. So yes, and like anything else in this game, if it turns out it would actually be really handy to have something, maybe that's when you spend it.
I like that rule.
Yeah. Okay. You guys are at war. Let's just take a quick look at our faction sheet. I know there's a lot of stuff going on here. You guys are at a -2 with the Raildrags. A +2 with the Circle of Flames. You guys actually are at a +1 with the Dimmer Sisters. I don't know if I mentioned that before or not. You are at war with the Path of Echoes. Actually, no, you're not at a +1 with the Dimmer Sisters. Or the Church. Yeah. Church of Ecstasy is neutral. Weeping Lady is negative. Bill Hooks is a +1. Leviathan Hunters and the Horde are at a -1. But the Dockers and Lord Scurlock are at a +1. They view you as acquaintances, people they'd be willing to do business with.
So we are more in the red than in the green for this one.
I've never played a game of Blades in the Dark, but that's not the case.
Okay, good to
Exactly.
know.
You haven't exactly been trying to rub elbows with people.
Yeah. I've only seen one game that other people have played where they have managed to be so good at being like thieves that they never acquired heat, but they also never grew in reputation. They just kind of kept stealing shit.
Quiet
So
under the table. Yeah.
So they were a tier 0 crew that were like robbing the Ministry of Preservation and stuff. And that's it. You know, like, so they were really punching above their class, but they did it well. Yeah. And that, I forget the name of that podcast. I think it's called The Ghost Leaves, or it's by the people who did Ghost Leaves. I forget. I will come back next week with my homework done on that one. But you guys are at war. What does being at war mean? Well, I dropped it in the chat a little bit earlier. But let's take a quick look. The faction will go out of its way to hurt you, even if it's not in their best interest to do so. They expect you to do the same and take precautions against you. When you're at war with any number of factions, your crew suffers +1 heat from scores, temporarily loses 1 hold, and PCs only get 1 downtime action rather than 2. You can end a war by eliminating your enemy or by negotiating a mutual agreement to establish a new status rating. If your crew has a weak hold when they go to war, the temporary loss of hold causes you to lose 1 tier, which is exactly what happens to you guys.
No.
Because you were, so you are unfortunately kicked down to a tier 0, and the way that this plays out, when you go to pick up your supplies, because now that you have quarters, you have followers, people living there, you guys are having to buy food and like things like that and bring it back to the lair. You've been lucky enough ever since you guys moved up in tier that you have kind of established these chains of like gathering supplies. You go down to the wholesale store, but you go down and they see you and they say, sorry, you can't come in.
Beg your pardon?
I just, we don't need your business here. I'm sorry.
You don't need my business. Is my coin not good enough for you? What's going on?
He leans a little closer and he's like, people have been coming by. They held up a picture of my son. They didn't say a word about it, but they said, those guys down at the university quarters, we're not to serve them anymore.
All right. Well, I see what's going on, and I'm not happy, but I understand. And if those people think that they can come in and start asking different protection money, then I guess I'll have to go resolve that before I can come back. And they will walk off.
All right. Yes, and so you're finding that, that's happening all over Six Towers. Like, it takes you a while to find a place that's
maybe the
lazy
first
enough.
one's really polite, and then by the end it's like, okay, fuck off.
Yeah. And you actually end up going to of all people, Sawtooth. Sawtooth has not been notified that he's not supposed to serve you.
All the best supplies from him.
Yeah. And so yes, you find yourself back at acquiring your tier 0 gear, implements, items. If you have fine quality stuff, it still punches up a little bit. Nothing on your person goes down in status, but yeah, times are tough again. Just after you've just gotten so used to this new lifestyle of yours. Myri, what are you doing with your day? This is maybe a day or two after that dream that you had. You're still kind of hanging out around the docks at this point. You guys haven't actually gone back to your lair yet.
Okay.
What are you doing with your day?
Well, now that there's been heat on her, she doesn't really actually go out much. She's a little kind of becoming a little bit more of a hermit, especially now that knowing a certain someone went around telling the leader of the Path of Echoes about her. Is just doesn't want to get his attention either. So I think it's more of hermiting and just kind of trying to plan her shit out. All right, let's okay, can't get back at the library. Let's do a mental count of everything we got. What we have on hand. What's the next steps? Also, fuck Jacob. Fuck him.
Yeah. Yeah. As much as you don't like Jacob, something Jacob does do is you're in a Leviathan Hunter bar, right?
Yeah.
And you see members of the Path of Echoes come in a few times, and you maybe know to move to the back room, hide your head. You're hermiting away a little bit anyways, but you maybe just see this through the window. these Path of Echoes guys come in and they got their like hand-drawn posters, pictures of you and Vey, a conversation. Some of the Leviathan hunters get a little bit riled up as they leave, and you see Jacob arguing with them, telling them not to go into your room, not to go into Vey's room, and he manages to kill them off for a little while. And you guys move down one level with the Leviathan hunters, to enemies.
Oh man.
Mechanically, or like narratively, that's what's happening. Mechanically, what's happening is the Path of Echoes is finding ways to fuck with you guys.
Fuck
wherever
those
they
guys.
can.
We gotta fuck them up. I didn't like them since day one.
And so a few days after this incident, you know you can't stay at this bar with the Leviathan hunters getting on edge as they are. You venture to go back, and sure enough, Daniel Deraviso's there. The Weeping Ladies are there. It's like nothing ever happened. The body's gone. The space is clean. And the three of you, Jacob decides to stay behind. Ludes has been missing yet again.
I have a question.
Yes.
Albatross wants to see if he can scout out to find on his own. He's going to scout out to see if they can find any of their supply chains.
Okay. That sounds like a gather information roll. So tell me how you're going to go about doing that.
With scout, when you gather info to locate a target, you get a +1 to the effect. So I get that, and then he's going to be trying to hunt it down. Find members of the Path of Echoes, start studying their routines, where they go.
Okay. Absolutely. So go ahead and give me that hunt roll.
And then he's going to push.
Oh, you're going to push?
Would you rather I assist?
He doesn't want to tell anyone.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Secrets.
Secrets.
And then, so that's going to be for +1, and that's going to be for greater effect?
Yeah, I'm going to say that this is risky for great effect.
Okay.
You do it. It's a success. Okay. Is there a specific kind of, like, you're trying to find their supply lines, like how they operate? Because you discover, like, and you would know this to some degree just as a citizen of Duskfall. The Path of Echoes, as much as like they maybe should be considered like an illegal terrorist organization, aren't. And they kind of operate freely within Charter Hall. They have like a whole like series of classrooms. Like there's like a whole bunch of like old brownstone houses that have been converted into classrooms, like walls knocked out between them, and it's like one giant like school. And they actually kind of have a pretty good stranglehold on like the philosophy wing of the Charter Hall Academy. And so the way that they get supplies is they just buy them like normal. Like TAs and professors will go out. Not all of them are like marked as like Path of Echoes members. Some of them are just, plainclothes people. Some of them are like heavily tattooed, and they have these like arcane and occult tattoos like head to toe. You rolled great though. You see that they are moving a lot of like it looks like casks of wine back and forth between Silkshore. And you track it down to a bar It's just a kind of like a small little. It's a nice bar. It's a kind of like a skinny little hole in the wall that seats maybe about a dozen people. There.
Sorry, let's see. Oh, where in the map is that?
Silk Shore is all the way over here on the far
Okay.
left.
Down real quick.
And Dio, you would remember this, like Albatross wouldn't, but you would remember this as the bar that the Spirit Wardens went in and killed a bunch of people inside.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
It seems that they have some sort of like, like they do it somewhat openly. They just kind of move stuff from one side from Charter Hall to Silk Shore and back. But you roll for great effect. You see that you secure one of these casks when they're not looking. You open it. Inside of it are like piles of black powder, void salt, and other arcane ingredients, as well as ingredients to make weapons, munitions, and bombs.
For void salt, what is the usual effect with it? Would I know what kind of?
Void salt is what happens when you distill the inky black water. And it's something that people will use to accelerate arcane spells and rituals and stuff like that. You can basically use it, like infuse it, like you can use it to like cut your hand and then rub it onto like runes, and it'll cause them to activate like immediately.
So I stole a whole casket.
Yeah, you open one of these casks and it's divided into quarters, and if you pick up like the one and you smell it, and it's clearly like black powder, like someone would use to load like a musket. And then you pull out another one, it's this other black powder, but it cuts the tips of your fingers because it's void salt, which feels like glass. And then yeah, like there's just other like, then there's like plain old like sea salt, and then there's other stuff in there, but you would recognize it as like tools to craft munitions, bombs, and occult practices in general.
I'm gonna take this crate. I was actually gonna take this crate to Myri.
Okay. Yeah, bring the crate back to Myri. We're in the library. Albatross brings in. It's like a cask, so it's like kind of like a mini keg. That's marked like a wine on it. Inside is all this stuff I described.
He's carrying it over his shoulder, and dropping it on the ground. Myri,
Yes.
you tinker.
I dabble. I would say I dabble.
He looks up and sees the railgun you're making. Okay, you do tinker. I have a favor to ask you.
Well, anything for the guy who tried to shoot a man to save me.
I need you to make me ammunition. Something that could spark a fire. Something that's untraceable.
No, untraceable. That's a bit of an interesting thing to tack on, but I could. Yeah.
I'll say this, because you have the ingredients for it. You're still gonna have to take a downtime action to do that, unless you want to pull that out in the middle of a score with the flashback.
Okay.
So it's whether you want to pay for it now or if you want to pay for it in stress later.
Well, I did have a coin that I said I wasn't gonna use.
Yeah, but could you like do a flashback, spend a coin? I guess you wouldn't need to. You're saying you spend the stress anyway.
Because he brought back narratively this cask of items to make it, I'm not going to make him buy a coin. But this is a tinker roll to craft for sure. These items that he's describing, which I'm gonna once again open those rules and see what that's all about. Okay. So, what type of creation is it and what does it do? So, we have decided that this is like a munition, like a bullet. What? It might be mundane, alchemical, arcane, or sparkcraft.
It would be more science-based.
Maybe.
Is that not sparkcraft?
Sparkcraft, yeah, is like artificing. But I could see it being a strange method because you have
if you got that sea salt glass, I'd make more arcane.
Kind of like the idea was like a flint and steel inside of like what my initial thought was oil within like with like the gunpowder itself.
So just what do you want it to do? Like don't worry about the technicalities of it. Just what do you want it to do?
But the ultimate premise is starting a fire, because what he wants to do, and he's gonna just tell Myri, or essentially, just what he wants to do is he wants to burn their school down.
Okay.
I mean, that's one way of handling
it. They're getting in the way of the mission. They need to be taken care of.
You want to threaten them by burning down half or like a third of Charter Hall?
I mean, it's where they operate. It's not just Charter Hall that he's aiming for either.
Yeah. Well, and I think like that's maybe one place that they operate, and we should maybe try to find the more private location to stay off of the front of the newspaper for I don't know how many weeks we've been up the front of there, but
Now hold on, I'm not totally against burning down Charter Hall. No, all right, we'll find somewhere else to burn.
How about the supply chain?
Yeah. Well,
That's where I got this crate from.
And I like that. And I think, we're being cut off from supplies, so I would very much like to do that on the other side going back, and if we can do either cutting it off or, anything to pinch it out and have it go somewhere else, I'm wondering whether or not this is the type of opportunity that we could get some sponsorship with, maybe bring Lord Scurlock into this to see whether or not, munitions trading is of any interest to him as far as, supplies going around town.
If what they're doing is good for the community, as it were.
We're short on time. I'm sure they already noticed that the box is gone. I'm sure they're gonna change their route soon. Find other options. These materials are too high in price. It's either we do this now or never.
I think that everyone would have some time while he's doing this to also do their own gather information. Because I know you're speaking as Albatross, and Albatross is very like, I want to do this, but I do want to give like the other players opportunities to.
I got so focused. I'm sorry.
I want to make sure everyone's got an opportunity to like think of like how they might want to approach it too. And so like you mentioned, you might want to like call in the big guys. Myri, you would also know that this cask is actually not worth that much money. These items are all pretty common.
Oh, is it really? My bad. Shit.
No. It's a dangerous combination of items to be in the possession of someone who might be labeled as a terrorist.
It's like if you get like it's normal if you're gonna buy like I can't think of the two dangerous chemicals, but if you buy vinegar, that's fine. You buy baking soda, that's fine. You buy them together, and like you gotta do something with that.
You're making
like-
a big volcano. Yeah.
Well, it's like you go to like the store and you buy some cough syrup. No big deal. You buy like 40 boxes of cough syrup. You're probably making meth. Like there's like a certain like you can extrapolate. Like there's a real reason why you might have void salt. Like people use it for rituals that are totally legal and acceptable to do. You know, but then like you have like barrels of it traveling across the city alongside like stuff to make bombs. That's not great. Like it's nothing. No one thing in there is like crazy expensive. It's just you're looking at this and you're like, this is dangerous. Like especially Myri would like be like, this is a dangerous combination of things to have.
Well, this is all a dangerous combination of things to have.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think, yeah, like, and like, I don't want to say like no to Albatross's idea because that is a score that we could totally do and it would be very interesting. But I want to give everyone an opportunity to kind of like find out some information and then maybe we can come back and like, this is what we want to do.
And sorry, I didn't mean to hijack anything. It just because I'm trying to get into the idea of like the whole thing, like, and just what I found. But honestly, I was just gonna try to fucking wreck some shit out. Like it was just like chaos.
Oh, absolutely.
And here's the thing.
I just didn't expect to find such a good fucking score out of this.
Right off the bat, right? Yeah. So like I want to jump in. I want to have a quick chat with Scurlock. You know, if we're getting strong armed and push out of our territory, the one that like we're sponsored for, I want to go talk to that sponsor and be like, hey, we're doing this and we're doing this for the community. And ourselves in order to, you know, help out with that clout and then maybe get other insight, right? You know, we can get an inn or a sideman or a door or something, right? And then
just look the other way a little over here.
Yeah, or distraction, that's another one. And then I don't know if CJ's got anything or if you're like, no, we're good, let's just blow it up.
Albatross would also, if Vague does go to Lord Scurlock, would give you one of his cards and say, tell Lord Scurlock, tell Lord Scurlock that we need to push back, that we can get his assistance. If you're going to speak to him to try to get him on our side, like Albatross's work, I assumed like he's been working with him enough. Try to put in a good word in essentially, because I don't know if Lord Scurlock even knows that that I'm actually working with him. I assume he would know.
I mean, I feel like we're all on good terms when it comes to Lord Scurlock, and you know, if you want to come along with me, then you know, more than happy to have this conversation with, you know, the rest of the crew.
He would want to make sure that the ammunition itself would be made properly, and it's not that he wouldn't trust Myri, it's that he's worked with other tinkerers and he likes to be involved in the process.
That's fair. I will say that taking the card is enough to give you a +1.
Okay, I see. In any type of conversation, yeah.
Like in your gather information role that is going to come from a conversation with Lord Scurlock. And then if you are going to do the crafting there, Myri, he has enough pips and tinker that he would be able to assist.
Okay.
I think you only have one, but that's more than enough. So like it's one of those things where like Albatross is setting himself up to assist a couple of people the next couple of actions. Don't forget you guys also have cohorts if you guys want them to go and try and find information or do anything during this time. But Ethan, you sound like you want to go talk to Lord Scurlock, so maybe we do that. Sure,
let's go. Faye's gonna make his way over to Lord Scurlock's tower. Cafe.
Well, he owns like a lot of businesses in the area, and he frequents the cafe. He also has a manor.
I would love to go visit the manor.
Okay. You go to the manor. You knock on the door. A lean, gaunt man answers, and he's wearing like the full butler suit. He looks a little bit like Lurch, but like not beefy at all. Like he's just very skinny. He looks drained, even.
Oh.
Looking down
Poor
from the
bastard.
nose. Yeah.
And with bags that put yours to shame under his eyes, he says to you, yes, you've come.
Hello, I'm looking to have a quick conversation with Lord Scurlock, if he's available.
Your name?
It's Vey.
One moment. And he just slams the door in your face. And like, yeah, a couple minutes pass, and then the door opens, and it's Lord Scurlock himself. The other man's not anywhere to be found. He invites you in, sits you down in a parlor room. Inside his house, it is not opulent, and it's not gaudy, like you've seen so many houses in bright stone. Be like this is
It's
wealth.
not gaudy, really. Interesting.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
really came across as a gaudy kind of person.
No, this is wealth with class, and he is a man of refined taste. Surprisingly modern tastes as well. Whereas like 10 years ago, like red carpets were really in style. So like a lot of people would have like those long, like banner-like carpets. He has replaced it with like intricate mosaic tiling that represent, like his own kind of unique style, but it's like a very modern design for the time.
Like custom tiles that have like maybe even like specific kind of patterns that he must have worked with like whoever was tiling it and being like, I need it to be this way so it can match the walls and ceilings. He went full like designer in the house.
Yeah, well, like you can see that his family crest, which is like a raven, on the crest of a shield.
Glass.
Embedded into the floor. But again, like incredibly expensive, well made, surprisingly not ostentatious. That's all I'm trying to say. But he sets you down in the parlor. There's a fire roaring in the hearth. You see that he has servants, many of them, but they look like domestic servants. All of them look exhausted. As they kind of mill about and do their work, they offer you like a scone, like a single scone, and it is the sweetest thing you've ever eaten, Faye. It's got like 2 grams of sugar in there.
I was gonna say, holy shit, this guy's got sugar. He's fucking loaded.
Oh yeah, it's in here I thought I was only gonna get a drink. Well, count myself lucky. Thank you so much.
Take a moment to remind you guys that you owe him 2 coin.
Oh, you might want to take that with you.
Oh, Vey, of course, took that with him. As I jump into the Soul Seekers,
Flashback.
we'll just make sure we take 2 out for the vault.
Flashback, opens door. Fuck, I knew. That's something. Grabs coin, runs back out the door, closes door.
I just didn't want you to forget. If you
What?
don't pay
Me?
Lord Scurlock,
No.
no. If you don't pay Lord Scurlock, it should be on purpose because there are consequences for that. But yeah, presumably you pay him. So that's kind of like the first.
Yeah, first and foremost, to our blessed sponsor, thank you for allowing us to continue to work in your fine neighborhoods. And I'll slide the coin over on the table.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that you came to visit, but I am not a fool. I presume that you have something you've come to ask for.
Well, it's you could think of this one as a request, but you could also think of it more as a consultation. And so we have recently come into information of a rival gang, the Path of Echoes, who are encroaching in onto our territory and are starting to push back and we're finding this convenience, we're finding this a little less than inconvenient, but yeah, I think I just wanted to inform you, kind of let you know what type of negative actions are happening, and to reassure you that we will do our best to help clean out your neighborhood of the rats that seem to be encroaching in from the west.
From the west, you say? The Path of Echoes operate mostly out of Charter Hall. I'm surprised you would call them a gang. My understanding is that they're upstanding citizens, just like the rest of us.
It's call me a sucker for the local newspaper, but I gotta say, as far as upstanding goes, there's I feel like there's a little more boiling underneath than what they'd have you think.
I mean, that is the way. They've been bothering you. Is that what you're saying?
They've been bothering us. They've been bothering other local residents that we work closely with, and so it's been more than a nuisance, I would say.
Oh, they've been bothering people outside of your immediate purview.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I'm going in, and I was walking through, and just the local Whole Foods sales owner was telling me how he was being threatened and strong-armed, and the pictures of his child. It's outrageous.
Yes. As a leader of Six Towers, I think it's within my purview to do something about that. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. Perhaps we could do each other a favor.
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
There's a woman named Adelaide Greenwich. She lives out in Brightstone. Her son is an artist. And also a poor one at that. There is an exhibit happening in Brightstone in 3 nights' time. If you were to find a way to embarrass him, perhaps swap out some of his works for what I know to be forgeries, this Path of Echoes problem could certainly be dealt with post-haste.
All right. I'm like, oh, I love that.
Now, I will say this. This is a personal vendetta of mine, and you may not have the time. I will not take it personally if you find something else to do in 3 nights' time. But any information you need, you can ask my good man over there. And he points to the gaunt butler that introduced you at the door. Anytime. Yeah, I certainly I will be having a word with some of these Path of Echoes people. I can do a little more than that.
And
if you help me out.
Absolutely. And I thank you for your time, and we will be doing our utmost diligence in order to deal with this distraction with without causing you as much of effort as you really shouldn't have to deal with. I'm more so just trying to be a good neighbor and be just as friendly and open to you as I think all neighbors should be. And I don't know. would you bow in that situation? What's the etiquette?
Make a consort roll.
And before that, like a good neighbor, Scurlock is there.
Make a consort roll, sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, they really that was really necessary sense.
You know that if you were to bow, that it would be a sign of subservience that would almost be insulting to him, as it would be embarrassing for you.
Gosh, I am so happy that there are roles to protect me from this world. And how do I be as polite as possible? And it's like you're acting like a bitch, and he knows it. Like, okay.
That's just like what I said because of the role. You know that the proper thing to do in this situation, if you want to hold esteem in a man like his eyes, he's an old Akarosi gentleman and potentially from old Akaros. You know that he might be borderline immoral. Shake his hand, and he will respect you more for it.
All right. I will shake Lord Scurlock's hand on the way out, and
and he slips you one coin.
Oh.
Like he basically, without you really noticing, has already counted out the coin and given half of it back to you.
Oh, I guess I'll put that back on the cult then, and not into my pockets.
How honorable.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have. All right, and then with that, which I don't know if they would even notice with how smooth Scurlock was with that, but also before heading out of the manor, Vay's gonna have a quick chat with the butler that was pointed out. I'm not gonna do it now, but just in case there was a need for a flashback, they chatted, and then Vay heads back out.
Yes, absolutely. So he, yeah, that can be a gather information if that's the road you decide to go down.
Cool.
Okay. Myri, is there any information you would like to gather?
Yeah. Since the Path of Echoes are tied to the Charter Hall, can I do like a study roll for like newspapers or like any kind of yeah, because it says you can information from documents or newspapers, so I want to know if there's like any like big events coming up that would like keep them distracted or their like attentions divided.
Yeah, go ahead and give me that roll.
Study roll. Position controlled, standard effect. Take a 4.
Okay, you're gonna get some information from that. You know that on Univet the 13th, and today is maybe like the 18th, there was an editorial posted about the Path of Echoes from in the Duskfall Echo. The Duskfall Echo being the editor seems to be a little bit borderline unhinged and not particularly concerned about what he writes in his editorials, and he has spoken out against the Path of Echoes. So it seems like the Path of Echoes, there are at least some people who believe that they are leading the masses astray, that they are engaged in activities that are untoward. And you read a few other newspapers over the next, like, the last little bit. You see that there is currently, as Vay was taking advantage of when he brought his last batch of followers, there are a lot of students enrolling in Charter Hall Academy this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
You also know that the leader, his name is Solomon Triss, is the leader of the Path of Echoes, is going to be in Charter Hall hosting a large lecture. He has some sort of revolutionary thesis that he is planning on delegating in this lecture, and that it's something that a lot of people will be attending. A lot of people are interested in him. Like when you went to Charter Hall Academy, people talked about him as if he was like some sort of visionary. So, there is that. Unfortunately, because you only got a 4, that's about all I can get you.
Okay.
Well, yeah. You guys return. You're in this moment. Albatross is trying to encourage you to commit arson.
Absolutely.
As he does.
And I'll ask, what are we interested in pursuing? And we can talk about it in character if you could.
Well,
So beforehand, what are the ideas, just to kind of have a pre-notion of, because we know arson idea for Albatross, but the other part was
an art
Well-
heist. for-
Yeah, art heist, and then Scurlock will take care of it.
the art heist seems best, or better yet, let's get to the work. Where's Loot?
Yeah.
Hell, you know how he gets. He just wanders off wherever he pleases.
I'd hate to say this, but I need his expertise on drugs.
Well, I know it's a dire situation. You don't need to be getting high right now.
Why would it be for me?
I don't know what you do in your time off.
It's like I don't know if you a crackhead. Fuck.
But if he blows around, I'm not judging.
There's a lot of them.
Oh shit. Okay, so this. Okay, getting back into character. Okay, but we can modify the bullets. Maybe if we can get some kind of hallucinogen, we could fire it at the boy.
At the boy.
Cause a scene.
Oh. So
I
you're
think the
thinking-
idea
you're
is to
thinking a
replace
little
the painting
outside the
ahead of
box.
time, so no one is the wiser. If he were to be drugged, I think he'd realize something's going on, and then he wouldn't present his painting. Listen, I love the idea of hallucinogenic bullets, do not get me wrong. I just do not think this time or place.
That being said, Dio, if you want to do that, because there might be a way that that's useful during this heist, you already have the syringe gun.
Mhm.
You could just buy some trance powder and throw that in there.
I think
You know what?
that's,
Yeah, I'll do that.
I think we can keep that in our back pocket. You know, we can go ahead and you know, overall this feels like a pretty low risk approach to kind of help solve a current problem. I like what you're thinking. Going into any plan with a backup when the first plan doesn't work is generally a pretty good place to start planning a heist.
Well, and speaking of planning heists, let's talk about planning and engagement roles, guys. Because we're getting in the details here, and that's not how this game works. The details show up when you want them to.
Okay.
So I'm gonna show the players here. Boom. Plan engagement. Here's the plan. You don't have one. We are gonna decide on an approach. Now, if you aren't comfortable picking an approach just yet, you want to get some information, that's totally acceptable. I'm not even gonna make you roll. I'm gonna tell you a couple things about this heist that they learned from the butler. The target's name is Elijah Greenwich. He is quote like air quotes artist who works out of Brightstone.
Is it like those artists that have like the canvas on like the rotating thing on the bottom, and they let the paint just start fucking going on like gravity?
He makes a combination of sculptures, paintings, and abstract like performance art. Thankfully, the next gala that he's planning on hosting is in Brightstone, is in a gallery owned by Adelaide Greenwich.
Okay.
That's his grandmother.
He's got a little family in the business.
Yes. So Lord Scurlock mentioned Adelaide Greenwich as his mother. He was incorrect. That's actually his grandmother. It's just fun fact. I got that wrong when I said it the first time.
I thought you were gonna say Scurlock's old. He just kind of gets some of those things wrong sometimes, just like Grandpa did.
No, Scurlock is sharper than I am. I'll say that. He would have got it right, and I got it wrong. But yes. So you know that there's a very good chance, like looking at some of this art, or maybe having heard the name, it sells for a lot of money, but it's almost as a way to garner favor with the Greenwich family, as opposed to because anyone actually cares about his art.
The way of high art, baby.
Oh, we're tackling the real issues.
Yeah.
they're buying Banksy right now, and it starts to shred at this moment.
Yes, so you know that it's at a gallery. It's so specifically an art gallery in Brightstone, called the Greenwich Foundation. It is a 2-story building, with the second story being for storage, and the main floor being an art exhibit. You also know that in 3 days' time that there's going to be like a combination of like a soiree / art, like silent auction. But that because his stuff is the highlight of the evening, it will be in the back or be like covered until it's time to reveal. And what Lord Scurlock wants is for that reveal to be tarnished, because he has given you access to forgeries that he wants in place. And so to make Elijah look like a forger and a plagiarist, it will be a large scandal.
I love it.
Hilarious.
Any other information you want beyond that would be rolls.
Okay. I was gonna ask them, like, is Elijah generally a good person? Because those seem to be the heists that we really kind of take on, you know?
I'll give you this for free. He's a rich person in Duskfall.
I was gonna say he's rich.
Well, he's not evil. He has certainly probably never hurt another person or killed another person.
Okay, perfect. That's all I needed.
Yeah. You know, there's a certain level of like, you know, let them eat cake that happens in Brightstone. But yeah, anything else you would want to know would be some gather information rolls.
Let's see.
You can
So we
also
know that
do.
it's
Yeah, you can also do gather information rolls after you make the engagement roll to like kind of fill in gaps in knowledge. So you don't have to do them all up front now. If you want to kind of like cater, like we decide how we're going to do it, and then we cater the roles, like the gather information roles, to specifically help out that plan.
So you said we know for a fact that like the painting isn't going to be in that second story storage. It's going to be like in some back room, like on the first floor, being ready to be presented.
No, he was just saying how like the second floor is storage, but when it comes to the presentation day, all of his
Okay.
things are going to be covered, and then halfway through the soiree, they'll be like, oh, and now the auction will start, and like all the covers will come out, type of deal, right?
Yeah, because it's an exhibition for his new series kind of thing.
Okay.
So like there'll be some fanfare around his work specifically. I think before we get too far into like figuring everything out, we should pick an approach. Assault, deception, stealth, occult, social, or transport.
I'm gonna assault the art. Do a violence on the art.
Do a violence on the art.
Probably stealth.
Stealth or deception, depending on
That's
how.
true.
Yeah. I actually think my pitch for this might be a social or deception score, because there's a very fine window between when they're going to look at the art and bring it downstairs, and then a lot of people are going to be in the room. Like, I think that like this is not something you can do like 3 days ahead of time and they won't notice.
Oh, I see. This is more of like
You got to do it while the party's happening, because that's more
pay
exciting.
the employees type of thing. Yeah, yeah. So, I was looking at this. I'm like, is there any way we could do this occult? And I'm like, probably not.
So I
No.
make a ghost ward. Hear me out.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be you and your social skills. I ain't got it.
I mean, there's. They will definitely jump in for that, but like with deception, right? It's like lure, trick, and manipulate, and I can see all three of those things lining up with Albatross, Vey, and Myri.
Yeah, and I could definitely see some level of overlap too. Like there might be an occult aspect to your deception, right? Like Myri might have like some sort of like occult thing that she does, or Albatross might assault someone as part of your deception. Like it's not saying you can't attack someone just because this is the plan.
It's just like
right?
one of those like, oh, because like he started like a drunken fight, then like they turn that way, and then you kind of slip in through the back door kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
so
I guess so. Real quick then to the to you two, it's like, do we do social more likely to threaten, pay off the people, or do we want to do deception of like, you know, maybe some of them know, some of them don't, and there's trickery and sleight of hand? Which one sounds more fun, or more like your character could really get into that?
Sleight of hand than I
I'm
have an
gonna
idea.
say sleight of hand trickery.
yeah,
Because
costs you less money too.
Listen, I know we got a vault, but
well-
we're not mad at money.
And that kind of leads right into the next section, which is the detail. When you choose a plan, you provide a missing detail, like the point of attack, social connection, etc. If you don't know the detail, you can gather information in some way to discover it. I am also going to pitch that Hutchins might be the kind of person who attends such a soiree.
Hutchins, we haven't heard that name in a while.
They haven't.
who's Hutchins again?
You weren't
Hutchins
there.
is your crew contact. He's the one who got you in connection with the Circle of Flames. He's also an antiquarian. He collects antiques, or rather, he is a house poor noble that is selling off his family's antiques in order to appear more wealthy than he is.
Okay.
And he's Myri's friend.
Yes. But he is someone that you would all have access to. Like Hutchins would be willing to work with all of you because he's a crew contact and not a specific character contact.
Okay. And I assume a lot of the people that are in the room here would be kind of like people that we wouldn't want to mess with anyway, just because they would be kind of, like, just because they're here specifically to buy art, right? And
They're just
part
rich
of this.
people.
Yeah.
A lot of rich people. Like, they have the wealth.
They have enough wealth that they don't have to be awful people, which is kind of like a weird thing in Duskfall. Is a lot of people are really shitty, and it's because of economic disparity. The proletariat
Which is-
must rebel.
Hmm.
You know, something to keep in mind. You may have negative feelings about them, but they really haven't done much.
Albatross is gonna go through a bit of a wardrobe change just for this.
Absolutely.
I think we have to. I think it's black tie
all
required.
of us. Yeah. We can't show up with our scraggly things.
Glasses exist in this world, but do contact lenses?
Probably
not. Actually, maybe.
When were contact lenses made?
Drops of ecto, right? That would like.
Ectoplasm.
I will say this: Taikarosi people are people, and they're allowed to go places. Like, you don't have to pretend you're not Taikarosi if that's what you're getting at.
It's the problem isn't being Taikarosi. It's identity itself.
Fair enough. You are more distinct than the average man, such as Vey. Very quickly before we get into what you're wearing, item loadouts, any of that stuff, the detail.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go on break because I have to urinate, guys.
Yeah. So, do we want to make the missing detail how we get into the soiree, or do we want to make it how we do the swap? I feel like the swap is kind of like that.
I think the swap.
The swap is the most important thing.
Yes. Yeah. And so, for that, we will make a gather information roll to when we get returned from our break to learn a little bit about that moment, that swap. How can we make that swap? Okay. But like I said, I have to urinate. Ladies and gentlemen at home, drink RC Cola and urinate freely.
Theo brought RC Cola specifically for this.
He did.
Yeah, and I gotta urinate now apparently.
Well, you do it freely, so you can do it as you please.
Right, true.
Fair enough. But yes, we'll take about 5 minutes here, guys, and we will be back.
All right.
Toodaloo.
Not yet.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed your RC Cola. If you aren't drinking RC Cola, what's wrong with you? Yeah, at the top of the show, I kind of just hopped right into it because I'm tired as hell. But I did want to call out and just say a big old thank you to Sydney Fable, who composed most of the music that you've been listening to throughout this episode, and most of the music we use in this particular show. They also have a lovely band called the Blam Blams, a glam rock band. They got some stuff on YouTube, and you can check out like their other stuff if you just search for the Blam Blams. What else we got going on? We're gonna be at Gen Con coming up in August, and unfortunately we are all sold out on every single one of our games that we're running. It's not really unfortunate. It's good for us, and it's exciting, and we hope that you guys managed to get tickets. But they did sell out really fast. But we will be around, and we'll have swag if you're a fan of the show and you happen to see us. Or if you want to get in touch with us, just hop over onto the Discord, and you can shout at us in the Dragon's Roost there, and just let us know you're at Gen Con 2, and we'll definitely say hi. Other than that, I think we're good to just get into playing again.
Do you have any Dragon's Greek Gaming swag on you?
I don't. So we're in the process of changing up the logo. I put out a couple of quick designs out to Chris to look at. He really liked one of them, but then he's like, put it on a pile of treasure. Wouldn't that be cool? And it turns out it's really hard to draw a lot of treasure. I'm not very good at drawing to begin with, so like everything takes me forever. Yeah, so I'm working on that, but I got like a ton of stuff I'm working on, so
like for the new logo for Dragon's Greed?
Yeah. I threw out a couple things. Yeah, and then once we have that done, my plan is to get some vinyl stickers made up because I got like a machine that can cut them. I was
gonna say
thinking-
I had formal training for graphic design. I studied it for like about a year and a half.
Oh yeah. If I
Yeah.
send you some mock-ups, do you mind like taking one of them and?
I mean, I can
Touch-
critique them. Because I have a commission that I'm doing right now, but I can look at them and say,
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, we'll talk later. Oh yeah, we'll talk later. But yeah, no, we don't know exactly what we're hoping that there might be able to even get shirts. I have access to a printer that does shirts, for like a pretty reasonable amount. I just am not sure if I can carry them across the border without complication. I think it's fine as long as I don't plan to sell them, but they won't know that.
No, I just travel with 30 of the same shirt, just in, various sizes.
Sizes.
Small to extra large.
My weight fluctuates a lot. Sometimes I'm a women's small, and sometimes I'm a man's double XL.
It's a seasonal thing.
But yeah, no. We will be at Gen Con, and if you are there, please don't hesitate to come and say hi to us. We'll definitely be around at the con, and the best way to get in contact with us, as always, is either on Facebook, Discord, hit us up in the YouTube comments, or rate or review the podcast. All that stuff helps out. Check out our Patreon if you're interested. Throw a couple coins in the dragon's hoard, as Chris likes to say. We got lots of cool stuff there, and like a really in-depth look into Chris's life. I am like fascinated now that I'm like on the Patreon and kind of looking at his posts. I learn stuff about him every month, and it's actually kind of interesting. But we are playing Blades in the Dark tonight, guys. We chose a plan. We're going to decept/social our way into swapping out these art pieces made by a man named Elijah Greenwich for forgeries provided by Lord Scurlock himself, in order to settle some sort of personal vendetta that he has. We were kind of stuck up on the detail there, the missing detail of how we do this, and I think there's actually two parts. We were talking about a bit on the break. I think that there's a point of entry where you guys are going to have to move the art so that it's not just sitting beside. And also just when are you guys going to do this? And so I think we should gather some information. Anyone have a plan for how they would like to gather information about either of those topics?
Well, you mentioned our one friend,
Hutchins.
Hutchin.
Yeah.
We could have a little conversation with that guy.
You want to see if you
Absolutely.
can't convince him to add some of our art to the possible collection to get it in?
Look, I've been trying to branch out my hobbies. Like, I don't believe that. All she does is
Sure.
sniff.
You know what? It's been a while. In episode
Wow.
2, I believe it was, of this series,
Yeah.
you promised Hutchins that you would have dinner with him. And you
Oh, I don't remember that.
And like a
Yeah,
friend,
she
you
wouldn't remember that either.
And so, yeah, you maybe take him up on that offer finally. Myri, I want you to have dinner with Hutchins.
Okay.
Let's do it. You meet him in Charter Hall, kind of on the eastern side of Charter Hall. There's like a it's like an Italian bar, like if you like when I say the word bar, but like specifically like an Italian bar.
Uh-huh.
They serve like lunch fare and stuff like that. That turns into like a bit of a bistro in the evenings. And you're sitting there, and he's ordered some looks like mutated fish, almost.
Ah, the local delicacy.
Yeah, it's like an eel and like a haddock combined with 2 heads, and it's all one piece. He's ordered it before you arrived because you're late. But it's designed, it's a large fish. It's designed to be shared with a close friend.
Wow.
And so as you take a seat, you smell this fish. It does smell good. Maybe not to CJ, but to Myri. Myri, this is good fare. What do you say to him?
I'm so terribly sorry. It's been so long to see you. I'm sure you've seen around town. It's been a bit dicey for me, but it is so good to see you again.
It truly is. It truly is. Please have a seat. Have a seat. Eat this weird fish with me.
I would love to eat this weird ass fish with you.
I was surprised actually. I thought maybe you were avoiding me. I was really looking forward to dinner together, so I'm glad that we finally made it happen.
There's a lot of people I'm trying to avoid lately. You are not one of them. It's a matter of avoiding them that made me have to not put a little bit of a rain check.
That's understandable. Understandable. We all get busy. You know that Hutchins is the kind of man who is frequently not very busy. I hate to assume, but is there perhaps like an ulterior motive that you might have for setting up this dinner? Something I could help you with?
Well, okay, well, first let me say, it is truly great to meet you again, but I wouldn't want to demean your intelligence. A very, very sharp-witted. You could see through those inky black seas, you could.
Wow, that's the best compliment I've gotten in a while. I'll take it.
Well, see, I know you're a man of the town. You know how the upper crust likes to live. There's a certain art show happening soon.
The Greenwich Foundation?
Yes, that's the one.
Oh, yes. I will, I'm going to be there. I'm selling some of my great-grandfather's paintings.
And I'm sure they are lovely. But you see, there's that, Adeline, I believe her name is, her grandson. He's getting a bit of work in there too.
Ah, yes, Elijah. A man of a refined taste.
Now, I'm sure you wouldn't want his art to upstage your art too badly. I'm sure you'd want to be sure you get some good returns on your paintings. And if he steals the show, that would be absolutely terrible for you.
I suppose it would. Interesting. I didn't know that you were interested in this world of art.
The girl's got a dabble.
Fair enough. What do you have in mind?
Well, we were wanting to make a little swap, as it were.
His eyes grow wide. He gets excited. He's kind of cluing in on what you're putting down. And he excitedly kind of leans in conspiratorially, and he's like, is this a caper?
Oh, you know it.
Oh my. Yeah, I want you to roll something.
Uh-oh.
With a +1 from Hutchins. For while you guys kind of talk through this plan, how much information can the two of you kind of figure out for your caper?
Okay, well, if it's information gathering and not talking, I would like to not do something with talking.
That's fair. You don't have to convince Hutchins, right? You're not
Yeah.
winning him over. He's like your best friend in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the beauty
Aside from
of
the other
context.
best friend who we've never brought up at all. Don't worry about it.
I offered for you to meet Stasia. You said no.
I
You're like,
forgot. Can we do study? No.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys can study your way through it. It'll get you different information than a different kind of roll. I'll say that.
Okay. Click to do survey. If I'm doing survey +1. We could do study. Control?
Yeah, controlled for standard effect. Yeah.
I'll
That's a
take that double
critical,
6!
Wow.
so,
that's a heck of a
You
way to
can't
kick
beat
it off.
this Myri Hutchins duo. We're on
Yeah.
the case.
And so, Hutchins is surprisingly helpful because I feel like that second six came from him.
Oh yeah.
And so, he gets really into it. He's just like, yeah, like, oh my god. And the two of you discuss, and there is an artist entrance for sellers. That's at the back of the building. So like most of the guests would come in through the double front doors. There is it's being catered by a group of Tigerosi who run a restaurant out in Coleridge. But they serve Tigerosi fare. And so all of the catering staff are from Tigeros. You also know that that they basically are moving all of the art pieces down during the day. Security is watching it. Basically from like noon until midnight, and midnight is when they're planning on unveiling Elijah's pieces. So unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a time where it's not going to be actively watched by at least some security. But he also says that the security is an outside group. It's not like it's not someone it's someone hired by the foundation or the foundation, and they're not like employees of the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually know that they are the Gray Cloaks have been hired. The Gray Cloaks being former Bluecoats that were fired for corruption and other misdeeds, have formed a criminal enterprise that offers protection at a cost. And so they may be amenable, given their history of being corrupt and taking bribes, to being negotiated with. Hutchins is also very excited at the opportunity to double dip, because he says that if you guys can do this and give him the real paintings, that he is able to sell them outside of the city.
Oh, down with that.
And offer you a substantial cut.
Really great job on that double 6, by the way, CJ. Really happy with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, bless.
Yes. Yeah, so you know that there is an artist entrance. That the Gray Cloaks will be working security, and that they are almost notoriously corruptible. And that the catering staff will all be Tigerosi.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, albatross.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Well, not necessarily. More like maybe don't go that route if you're not Tigerosi.
Yeah.
Because that could have been a bad spot to start.
Is it like full staff would be Tiger?
So there's a restaurant out in Coleridge that is made up of Tigerosi refugees and immigrants that serve like explicitly only Tigerosi fare, which a lot of people think is like very exotic, if a little frightening. Yeah,
Albatross would immediately dive in. He would start talking to the rest of the Tigerosi and start figuring out who they are, where they come from, their families, everything.
absolutely. Do you want to? Actually, I'm not even gonna say you need to make a roll. I think that you would be. You learn that there's a woman named Raquel. And Raquel is the owner of the establishment. She is like an orphan that made her way like on like a caravan, and you actually figure out through the way that she talks that she would have been like maybe 10 years old when you arrived, and you were actually on not on the same like carriage, but she was part of your caravan on that trip. You don't know that any of these people also do what you do for the Tigorosi government. Like, you don't know if any of them are military, but there's a lot of them, and you can kind of make the connection, maybe recognize some faces. These people all were with you on that journey, or a lot of them were. Some of them are younger and like wouldn't have been old enough to have gone.
But do any of them recognize me?
If they do, they don't say anything.
Like nods of approval.
Yeah, a lot of like Tigorosi solidarity. It's not very often you see this many Tigorosi people in a room.
Speaking to the manager. Oh, he would go to the manager.
Yeah. You speak with Raquel. Yep.
Oh, man, terrible time not to have the guide of a crazy vocabulary that Adam has made. Let's see.
It's got to make up a whole bunch of new words.
Greetings and salutations.
The bleep blop. Let's see. How would I want to go about this? I'm not saying that. I was actually about to say one that was kind of like appropriate, but no. Okay. Albatross would approach the manager of the establishment and greet himself like he did many of the rest. And say, "So, you're the one that runs this fine establishment?"
Yeah, that's right.
I'm glad to see our food is being served. Yes, it does.
Yes. Many of the locals find it to be a novelty of some kind, but if anything, it's a place for our community to come together, and that's really why I started it all.
The smells definitely remind me. But
yeah.
Enough of the reminiscing. I have a request.
You pique her interest, and a third eye opens on the center of her head. She looks up to you. She says, "Yes."
I require one of your staff uniform, and possibly would like to join in, if possible, to help with your catering services.
A particular evening, I'm assuming.
Indeed.
For the great Tanatua, I suppose I could.
The great Tanatua.
That's you, by the way, right? That's how you say your name?
Donatio.
No, what?
What?
It's Donatio. It's sorry, it's the way that I pronounced it in my head, but like I apparently met somebody who had that name. It's supposed to be the sun god for or one of the sun gods for the Mexica or the Aztec culture. So I kind of, given the
Fair.
premise of this story, I named them after the sun.
Fair enough. Fun fact. I like that. But she does say your name, Tanatu.
Sounds like a
Might wanna-
bionicle name, funny enough. But yeah, he nods in respect to someone actually acknowledging his name in a very long time.
Yes. Yeah, and that maybe is the first time someone has called you by your real name in a while. And she lifts up her sleeves, and she has a tattoo on like the nape of her elbow, like the interior of her elbow, to signify that she was part of the 18th caravan, which is the one that you were part of. Not everyone got the tattoos. You don't have to have a tattoo. But she does recognize you. She is letting you know that she recognizes you in this moment.
He will bow in respect and say, beyond this, if you ever to need anything, please take my card.
And she does. She kind of nods her head. You can tell that she's not a classy person or like someone who puts on a lot of airs, but she seems respectful. Certainly. If a little bit like she would be a commoner for sure.
But
And she
Tigros
takes the
nonetheless.
Yes. And she puts the card in her pocket. And she says, if you want to join us that evening, go ahead. We just ask that maybe don't be wearing our uniform if you start committing crimes in public.
So when you start shooting people, take off the jacket.
I will make sure not to tarnish your name.
Appreciate it. Good day to you, sir. I have work to do, but I will see you on the eve of the 23rd. You can just meet us in Brightstone.
Thank you. Good. Thank you for the information. I will
Yes.
I will very much do so.
Oh, and she gestures to like one of the other chefs, and she's like, get him a coat, and they just hand you the uniform before you leave so that you have it. All right. Is there any other information we want before we get into item loadouts and the engagement?
I guess we'll just wing. I'm like, how are Bay and Myri gonna get into the establishment? But hey, maybe we'll just wing it.
That's fair. I mean, depending on your engagement role, that might be the first obstacle that you come up against. Or blow through, depending on how well that goes. Actually, first, item loadouts. How are you guys going in?
Oh, I think we're gonna have to go light.
Oh, absolutely.
All three going light. That does not mean that you can't use a flashback to have items stashed, especially with Hutchins and the restaurant owner having like some. It would make sense that maybe you have like a dolly with like a gun on it if you really want to. As an example, that just as an example, but like that'll come up as a flashback in the moment.
When
Yeah. So this time I'm going to try to keep you guys to the rules as much as possible. Don't pick your items. Don't pick your items till you need them because you get stuck. Major advantages and disadvantages. You always start with one die because you all are just so lucky. Is this operation particularly bold or daring?
no,
Mm-mm.
I don't think so this
It's
time.
pretty mundane for our normal.
Yeah.
Usually we're like, it's
Balls to the
big,
walls.
it's high, and this is like, all right, we're gonna just like change some paintings. You know, we're gonna take it down a notch.
We're gonna ruin someone's day. Like that's the stakes. Is it overly complex or contingent on many factors?
Yeah, though.
I don't think so. Okay.
I don't think it's overly complex. You're right. Like, yeah, I think there's kind of one thing you need to do, and you just need to do it well.
Okay.
You can walk in, pay someone $1, switch some paints, walk out. You know.
Yeah. Does the plan's detail expose the vulnerabilities of the target or hit them where they're weakest? I don't think so. These are socially savvy people. But it's also not their strongest. Like they're not particularly well defended against this. So I think it's kind of a wash there. Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation?
Yeah.
Hutchins was.
Yes, Hutchins was, and so you can take a +1d there. No enemies or rivals interfering on this operation. No one was expecting you guys to go here. Are there any?
Where we're going.
Are there any other elements that you want to consider? Yes, you guys are at war, and so the Path of Echoes, if they were to catch wind that you're doing this, would try and fuck it up, and so you're going to take a -1d for that. And so that is 1 for luck.
Straight 1, isn't it?
That's 2
Oh, okay.
because of Hutchins. And so we will roll an engagement roll with 2 die.
CJ, well, I mean, you just kind of used up all your luck on that.
I was gonna say,
maybe.
like,
yeah, maybe
yeah,
not.
I rolled good, but that's also probably where all the luck went.
That's fair. Dio, you want to give it a shot?
Is it an engagement roll?
This is
Yeah.
an engagement roll.
Engagement,
Okay.
2 die.
That's
2 die.
no stress. You're tier 1. No, 0.
Your tier is 0, but no. It's an engagement roll, so it's just 2 die. It doesn't matter what your tier is.
All right. Here's to hoping it's good. Woo!
You are in a controlled position when the action starts.
Oh, well, yeah.
So, the evening of the heist begins. Or, well, this isn't really a heist. The art swap begins. And, Myri and Bay are dressed up well. They have cleaned themselves up. They're looking
Managed
nice.
to do something with her hair.
Yes, you're still wearing that hat that
I got his hat.
Jacob gave you, because why not? But you also maybe have on like a nice. I don't know if you're a dress wearer or if she would be wearing like a pantsuit or whatever, but you're wearing something. Yeah, let's talk fashion for a second. What's Mario wearing?
Let's see. For this specific thing, since this is a heist, I think she would go pantsuit. Because I think the more formal attire that would be expected of higher class upper women would be a little too constricting for her how she would want to move.
Sorry.
Yeah, Hutchins lends you his ex-wife's like he's got like an old blazer, like a nice white shirt for you to wear.
I'll try not to read into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and so you're wearing that. They I'm not gonna single out CJ. What are you wearing? Who are you wearing?
Who? Oh man, that's a good. I can't think of a pun with ectoplasm and like Louis Vuitton. Louis Ectoplasm. That just rolled off the tongue. No. Yeah, I mean, for this type of thing, I think Vay's gonna have something. It's gonna be mostly simple looking, but then maybe like 1 or 2 pieces are a little more extra than he would have maybe want and be kind of comfortable in. But that was kind of what.
Are you wearing that nice brass watch you got from your shit ass boss?
Absolutely, yeah. With brass cufflinks and in a brass what's the, not a badge, what's it called, a brooch.
Yeah.
On a,
Yeah, the working man's formal. And the two of you go in. You don't have tickets, or invitations or whatever would be at the door. But Vey and Minery kind of moving close together, slip in, just kind of as like a group of like already drunk partygoers. Start trying to pass all their tickets at the same time to the ticket taker, or the invitation security guy. At the beginning, he's he's a gray cloak, and he is wearing a gray cloak. It's not raining currently, but you can hear the rumblings of thunder in the distance. You know it'll rain a little later this evening. But you managed to slip into this auction. You see a lot of people standing around with like flutes of champagne. There's Taikarosi men and women walking around with trays that have like delicacies such as salted snails. Yeah, and such other various Taikarosi food. I will do some research and I'll describe it more next week. But you get into the party. You see kind of rows of various art. You see Hutchins is kind of off to the left, doing his best to chat up some people and express how amazing his great grandfather's artwork is. And to be fair, it is a very fine piece of art that he's trying to sell tonight. You also see at the back of the room, there are 3 paintings covered in like canvas sheets that will be revealed, at midnight.
Oh, they've already been brought out. I see. Oh, I guess
Okay.
because we're getting there when the party starts. Yeah.
Yes. I think that's your best opportunity. Yeah, so you guys are in the party there. Albatross is somewhere around. He is working as a caterer, or potentially at least got in under the guise of being a caterer. He's somewhere in. We got a little bit of time, so I'm going to let you do your first action.
It's like, I think we're all sitting here going like, all right, what do we actually do? So maybe real quick table talk. How are people feeling? Any thoughts on approach?
Okay. So I had an idea just like pop up in my head. So we got those 3 things that are up on the that is being displayed. So like they're out and open, and I'm assuming that there's probably like they got some guards in here too nearby the arts and stuff, keeping an eye on it. So I think what we gotta do is like kind of like pay off a guy, be like, hey, like go take a smoke break. Here's a little 20 for you. And then I'm thinking if we could get like the lights to like flicker off for a time so that we can make the swap then, while after that guard's been bribed, and then we can get out in that time, then the lights come back on.
And to be fair, if you don't want to bribe them right now, you could have already done it via a flashback.
That's true. Like, hey, when the lights go off, just kind of, oh man, I don't know what's going on. How about that? What y'all think about that?
I do like that. I'm wondering if we need any other steps as far as like getting the real art out as well, because I love that whole idea of double dipping and getting even more money if we can for this whole thing. It might add, a little more chaos and stress, but like money is money.
Yeah, I mean, like because Albatross is with the catering guys. He can take it back through the kitchens or whatever.
Ooh. Oh, that is interesting.
As you guys walk into the room, you hear a voice within the waters. This is the beginning of the mission. We will purely communicate through here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we can do that. I forgot. Mission.
All right. So I guess how do we want to divide and conquer? Do you want to?
Based on what you described, if you're going to have bribed the guards, you either need to do it now or activate a flashback to have already done it. I think that's the first thing we got to settle.
I think that's you, man. You got the social skills.
The social, yeah. No, that's fair. Okay, yeah, I think we should absolutely do a flashback to, you know, like the morning of, and you know, they walking around the grounds and maybe catching up with a few of the gray cloaks.
Yep.
Hanging out back, having a smoke or a drink, or just kind of prepping for things.
Yeah, and so I'll give you the freedom. They said bribe, but you don't have to bribe them. Maybe you spike their drinks. Maybe you do something else. You can totally bribe them, but I want to stimulate your creative juices, Ethan.
Oh.
Get juicy with it.
Okay. Yeah, actually, no, like I like that. I like that way better. Instead of like bribing them ahead of time, I wanna go have drinks with them. When I get to the party. Yeah.
Okay.
Or I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. Let's play through that. I want to do that. That sounds fun.
Okay. So you're doing this in the moment.
Yeah. So I guess Vade's gonna walk in, and as he's going in, you mentioned these flutes of champagne, and he's going to grab 3 of them and throw in what is it? Use a vial of slumber essence in order to spike 2 of the drinks, and he's gonna walk over and just start talking art with the gray cloaks, and hopefully convince them to have a drink. Evening,
Yeah.
gentlemen. Hope you're having an exciting night. I can just imagine the amount of excitement y'all get just standing here watching these fine pieces of art or cloth over top.
It's not really my scene, but money's good. Almost too good. Look at him go. And he seems to have clocked you as not like the rest.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense. He says, yeah, I don't know. Working stiffs like us, we gotta make a living, even if we gotta do it on the backs of these assholes. Know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's gonna kind of look over, and it's like I'll tell you, none of these aristocrats are worth their salt in the metal and the blood, sweat, and tears we gotta go and put down every day just to stay afloat. Meanwhile, they're living up there on top of their castle.
And the other one that's like, cause there's 2, you're talking to 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
The other one turns to you and he's like, sorry, what?
Well, I can tell that both of you, you know, as much as I'd have fun chatting with the rest of the folks in this party, I gotta say, I think I'd much rather go and you know, just have a chat with you. You know, what you say the pay's good. You know, how you know, how good is it? Is it worthwhile not to work anywhere else? And not looking for specific answers here, but I guess Vade just kind of starts going down the rabbit hole of chatting and, you know, getting to know what are their names?
Oh, yeah, my name's Ralph, and this one over here is Winston. Yeah, I'm Winston.
Yeah, I figured that was coming. Well, Ralph, I can tell you're the brains of the operation, and I can really appreciate that. And one thing that's it's too much of a shame is how often we just gotta stand around doing nothing at all. Meanwhile, everyone else just gets to potty and hang out and drink, and it's a crying shame if you ask me. And at that point, Vay's gonna just drink, a decent amount of the champagne. Not quite finishing it, but just definitely having that little quick enjoyment to it.
Okay. And I'm assuming you're gonna offer them the things. Maybe now would be the time to make a consort roll.
And that is exactly it.
I'm gonna say it's controlled because this is a control. You started in a controlled position, and it's not ultimately all that risky. They're gonna say no. That's kind of the worst case scenario. For standard effect.
Okay. And just because our dice rolls have been way too good this entire session, it's so scary. It's like all this green, and then you go up to our last session and it's like red, red, red. So I don't want to be the one to do that. So I'm gonna push for 2 stress to just add on 1 extra die to this, because this game, I don't trust it.
Yeah. I feel you.
It's out to kill me.
Oh, good. Oh,
And there's
man.
Success.
Can I offer you a
Ralph-
drink?
Ralph takes the drink and he's like, I don't know, but Winston's like, hell yeah, and he
Wednesday.
And
A
he-
terrible accountability buddy.
yeah, and he chugs it. And he's like, come on, Ralph, do it, Ralph.
Ralph.
Hey, Ralph. And then Ralph's just like, shut the fuck up, Winston, and he just drinks it.
It's like, you won't. It's like, fuck you say I won't.
And you dosed it a little bit better than when you just blew it in the face of Edwin the other day.
A little more
So it
effective
do-
this time, yeah.
So, well, you know that you kind of have like 5-10 minutes before they start to like pass out. So it's not going to be incredibly obvious. They're going to maybe think they're sick or that there's something weird. Like you got, like, because of the success, you got it. So it's not going to be incredibly obvious that like you poisoned them.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, and Raul says to you, hey man, it's good talking. I appreciate it. And I don't know what you're doing after this, but down at the Owl's butthole, we like to party. Play a couple rounds of cards and drink some hard whiskey, as opposed to this bubbly stuff. You're welcome to come down if you want.
I can tell you that's a lot more my speed, Ralph, and I really appreciate that. I'll see you later tonight. Anyway, as much as I would love to spend the night chatting with people who I actually care about their opinions, I gotta go mingle, unfortunately, and check out some of this gaudy art, and is gonna walk around.
Absolutely. And as you're leaving, you hear Winston attempt to quietly say, Ralph, I'm tired. I would like to go to bed. How much longer do we gotta be here? Ralph.
Shut up, Mimsy. Like,
and you leave them. You got a couple minutes before like they start to kind of react a little appropriately. Like, this is an appropriate dose of slumber essence, so that you're not just like boof knocking someone out. But they will pass out in a couple minutes. Myri, you mentioned that you might be looking to like set up some sort of like turning off all the lights at a set moment.
Yes.
Okay, so in this room they have electroplasmic lanterns that are powered by basically electroplasm, like the essence of spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean you can't interfere with that, but it's not going to be like a light switch on the wall necessarily.
Yeah.
You would either have to go to every single one individually or find a way to interfere with the electroplasmic flow.
How many are there individually?
I don't know. Let's say there's a dozen.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know, if they're being powered by spirits, I have a thing that can repel spirits.
I would say that could work. I can say that. Yeah, I think this is going to be the last roll of the night. And let's see if it sets you up for success or a little bit of rushing in the next session.
Okay, we're definitely gonna push it. There's a little stress on that.
Yeah.
For an extra die.
And it's going to be risky for standard effect. You're going to be able
Yeah.
to turn out the lights, or at least set up the device so that when you're all ready, the lights can go out.
Mm-hmm.
What are you rolling?
Well, Ghost Ward. I know how to wreck an area with arcane substances and methods, so that either anathema.
Okay. So actually, if you're doing that, I'll make it risky. Oh, well, go ahead. What were you
I was gonna say, like, otherwise, like, because we studied the place beforehand, like, would I know how to deal with the lights? Would I be able to have like some other tool I pull out in a flashback?
Oh, absolutely. You would know how to do that. It might not even need to be a flashback. It might be an item loadout thing.
Like, and so mechanically wise, I was wondering, like, is this the type of thing where you can have, like, you know, some alchemist symbol on like a napkin or like piece of paper that you, like, you know, throw out to like the corners of the room that would like do something? Like, is like are those types of abilities here, or is that too like Full Metal Alchemist?
No. I mean, it works how you want it to work in the moment, like how we agree it makes sense to work, right? So like all four of us in this instance are figuring out how electroplasmic lanterns work right now.
Okay.
And that becomes canon.
It helps
and
that
so,
you're a part of the experience too, and you're not just telling us if we're right or wrong.
Yeah. Like so, like I can put something out there and you can be like, I don't like that. I wish it worked like this. And then I'll be like, yeah, you're right. That's better. Like, that's fine. Like, but I speak in a very authoritative way sometimes, I've been told. So I sound more confident than I am. But Myri, if you like, because you have gadgets is something that you would have access to. Maybe that there's like because you know that people turn off and on and repair these lamps, there's got to be a tool that people use.
Yeah.
And if you want to do it as a flashback so it all happens at the same moment, maybe you set up a bunch of these and you just have to connect like a switch or something.
Yeah, okay.
But that would definitely be something you set up beforehand. If you want to be able to do it like that. If you want to be able to go around and turn them off or damage them, that's something you can do as well. It just changes whether or not it all happens at once or if it's something you actively have to do to go to a dozen of these lamps and get them to go off.
Or trick a dozen people that it's a party popper and to all set it off at the same time. Hooray!
Oh,
I mean, that's something.
I like the gadget route of we get everything to go off at once.
Okay. So I will do that as a 2 stress flashback.
Yeah, got that marked off.
Because you did this as a flashback, you don't I would say that just check off gadget to be the thing that sets it all off when you're ready. And then I will say that it is controlled. for standard effect.
Okay, so it's probably gonna be a tinker roll instead then. Tinker. Well, I guess either way.
Yeah. Wreck would mean that the lamps won't turn back on. Tinker means that you can control whether they turn back on or not.
We'll control, because if they don't ever come back on, then they can't continue and they can't be embarrassed.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
So, controlled. Okay, so it costs stress to flashback, but I could also do it again to push it. Right?
Yes, you have. It costs stress to do the flashback. You can spend more stress to push, to either increase effect or give yourself more die.
Okay. Getting real high on the stress, but you know what? Let's do it.
All right.
Gotta stress it.
Gotta stress it.
We haven't gotten traumas yet, so we need to start
Exactly.
pushing
I'm just
stress
like,
a
you know
little
what?
more.
I feel bad. Everyone else is getting super traumatized, and I'm sitting there like, I'm fine, guys. Even though I've been doing some crazy shit.
I've been taking the trauma for all of you guys so far.
No, we
My
know.
man.
You got two more.
Controlled standard.
Yes, control for standard.
Okay.
Hesitate, withdraw, dive, and approach. A minor complication occurs. As you're walking around the party, you're kind of checking your work that you did like the night before. Maybe you and somebody else snuck in and you set up these devices. And all you have to do is kind of like click this device that you have in your pocket. And it's like a tuning fork almost. And that'll turn them all off. And then once it stops resonating, they'll come back on. However, you notice that there seems to be an issue with a couple of the lanterns towards the back of the room where the art is. And it seems like
It had to be
maybe
specific.
maybe the gray cloaks noticed and removed them.
God damn, they did their job.
The lights will go off and it's a spotlight on Dio with the paintings like, uh-oh.
Yeah. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make I'm going to make it an 8-segment clock. So I'm just going to change it here. This is called suspicion. And I am going to put that on your guys' crew sheet so that you guys can see it. Zero. All right. Sorry, I just had to set that up. So yeah, I'm sorry, 1 second. I tried the wrong one out, but whatever. I'll change the name after. But that this one that you're gonna have to do something if you want all the lights to go out. Because it's gonna be hard to hide what you're doing. Unless you fix this.
Okay.
Albatross, what are you doing to get everyone set up? Are you maybe setting up like the smuggle route? Are you...
Yeah. This is less than optimal. Circumstances. The Taikaroshi were probably ready, and himself were ready to take the painting upon the lights going out, but because the lights are still spotlighted, are completely spotlighting the
It hasn't happened yet.
Oh, okay.
We were just saying that because I was casing around, I noticed that some of them are missing, and so we've got a little bit of time for it to get fixed before this all goes off.
I
And
think
this is like
just
you setting up.
this
This
is
is you setting up your stuff.
2
So, okay,
minutes
then,
beforehand, and maybe there's some looks going on between the three of us of like, mm-mm.
Oh wait, we got our
Well,
magic talkies. It's like,
looks amongst you guys, but Albatross and the rest of the Tycherosi are all serving food.
y'all
He is being,
serving.
they are all being professional. They are all, bowing, handing the food out, asking to see how they enjoy the food. He's walking up to these aristocrats and basically saying, "Are you enjoying the meal? Would you like to know about what are the things we are serving? We have these kind of entrees." He's going into all of it because he knows the food. He knows what's being given to them, and it's easy for him to talk about it. So it's like he's blending in. But would Myri say it through the mindscape, I suppose?
Yeah, just slight complication. There is a couple of my devices missing, but I am working on a solution to this, so everyone try to buy me a little time.
What's missing?
My devices.
Where do they need to be placed?
By the lamps, by the by the paintings.
Do you have any spares?
No. Maybe.
How long will
I
it-
don't know. We'll find out.
How long will it take to make more?
I can't make. Oh, I don't know.
I'm gonna say you're limiting yourself a lot there. You could
I was
totally
just like,
have
wait a
extras.
second. I don't know. Hold on a second.
You could
That's why I
totally
said-
have
That's why I
extras.
stopped. I was like, hey, wait a second. Actually, wait. Let me see.
But that
Give
sounds
me
like a
a minute.
canonical thing,
Let me wait till my
right?
next roll. We'll figure that out.
It's like, oh, wait, actually, maybe.
Actually, wait. Huh? What? Give me a minute.
Yeah, I think we are heading towards the end of our session here. Dio, I'm gonna put an obstacle in your way, and the obstacle is a man that you might recognize. His name is Valeris. A kindly older gentleman that you recognize as an Akarosi spy. And when he sees you, he gets the biggest grin on his face. And he winks at you.
And Albatross nods back.
And we will leave it there until next week, guys. The stakes are not as high. I'm waiting for like the cliffhanger moment, and I realized I'm like, you guys stole a train.
We jumped the shark a little. I wasn't
And
even
like
there.
the
Y'all jumped
blob
the
of
shark without me.
people with the vampire fight, like there's kind of like, hey, we need to like kick it back down to like a 2 so that we can ramp up again, because like you can't just keep going at like 7 and 8s and 9s the whole time.
I mean, you can, but I think this is I'm actually really excited for this score. I think it's a fun one. But we've
It's a Brom.
yeah, it's a romp. You guys had Winston. That was fun.
Man, we are definitely using our resources on this one.
Yeah, no, you guys need to win every once in a while. A win that doesn't fucking traumatize everybody in the world.
Oh no, I've only got 1 pip left.
Uh-oh. I mean, honestly, given your role in the whole process, like the one that should be stressed out about all this shit, it would be like, is everything working out? Wait, no, it's not. Shit.
Yeah. And so that minor complication, by the way, counted for 1 tick on an 8-segment clock called suspicion. The Grey Cloaks noticed that something was there, and they're like, something's weird's happening here. But we'll see what happens next week on Sins and Consequences. And yeah, that's all we got for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you so much for listening. Hit up the comments, hit up the reviews, and all that fun stuff. thank you very much. Once again, I am fucking tired and I keep repeating myself, so I am just gonna say to delay.